Oh God, I rush. I rush. Oh,
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Gifty. Hi, it's Manoj here.
Okay, morning.
Hi, we've met before.
Yes. Hi. Mhm.
I'm just having trouble getting my laptop working, so I'm using a little tablet, but I'm
Oh,
messing about a little bit.
yeah, you love to.
I think we both agree.
We is on holidays, isn't it?
Yeah, V's on holiday, and I think I'm leading this session today.
Are you?
I'm-
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about how to get onto funding panels.
Oh,
That's what I've been tasked to do today. So I've written two sides of A4, everything from
Really?
memory. So I'm
Mhm.
going to be going through that. I'm just going to log in again.
Okay, don't worry.
Just be with me for, bear with me.
No problem.
Nice to see you.
Me too. It's always over. I've been really down.
Are you from London?
Yes. I'm in London. All the excitement, isn't it? We had.
I've not been to London for 2.5 years, but I've got an invite for November the 21st. So I've got to come to London on November 21st. The first time in 2.5 years.
Yeah. Funny. I think even in London, I've been to the West End just once before pandemic. I've not been there yet. So much has happened, isn't it?
Well, I'm going to come in again, hopefully. Is the weather good in London today?
That's very nice.
It's nice.
Very nice. Yes, it's warm because I was outside. I went to a meeting with appointment early this morning, and it's warm. It's really warm. Yesterday too, it was warm.
Was it? It's raining
Yeah, it
here
was
in
warm. I don't know
Manchester.
what's happening. It's good for us, but we have to watch the trend. What can we do anyway?
Gifty, it's raining here in Manchester.
Is it? Is it
It's
rain?
raining.
Oh boy. Is it rain? Okay, stop. It's pleasant.
Hopefully other people haven't forgotten about the meeting.
Well, I nearly forgot, but it's a reminder. And because my phone started buzzing, because I put it like 2 days before, started buzzing. Like, oh yeah. Yeah. There has been so much excitement. You see, the Queen passed in, then we had the election, then we had the parliamentary do that. Then your own head.
We'll give it 5 minutes.
Yes. Okay, yes.
See who turns up.
I would have been late, but because I asked if I could be seen early because I've got to meet. They said okay. And it's not far from my city.
Morning, everyone. Miss Meko. Can you hear me properly?
No, it's echoing.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Can you hear me properly now?
No, it's still the same.
And I've come up twice.
Yeah, it doubles your voice. It's echoing.
Yes. Is it better now?
It's getting. Yes.
Oh, good, good.
Yes, now.
We'll wait a couple of minutes to see if anybody else joins. But morning,
Okay.
Hayley. Morning, Debbie. Already said morning to Gifty. I don't know if anybody else is going to join. I do think I'll make a start. It's nearly 6 minutes past. Do you want to put your camera on, Hayley and Debbie? So I don't know who you are. No? Shall I make a start then, if you're all ready for me to go? Ah. Hello. Okay. That's fine, Hayley. That's okay. Hi, CJ. How are you?
Hi there. I'm okay, apart from the fact I can't get my camera to work. I'm just going to play around with it for a bit, but I'm just, yeah, it's a bit bizarre. It just won't click on.
You can hear me and see me?
Yeah, I can hear you and see you, and I can see, Hayley's got her camera off and Debbie's got her camera off.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why mine won't go on. So apologies. It may well come on, but apologies for now.
Well, I'll give you a minute or two and then I'll start and talk about the session that was planned.
That's fine. Manoj, I'm fine. Just if you just want to go ahead, that's fine. Or are you waiting for other people to join?
If everyone's ready. So V asked me to talk today about how to get accepted onto funding panels, so operating at the national level. So what I thought I'd do, and I've written everything out, is start with a bit of a preamble of how the effort and the energy and the process involved in how I actually got accepted eventually onto a funding panel. So apologies for the bit of the preamble in the first place. I got a phone call out of the blue on a Tuesday afternoon, and it was actually my sister's community mental health nurse asking for me and then telling me that they were going to discharge my sister from community mental health services. And this phone call came out of the blue. And this was because sister had been stable for a number of years. So I had lengthy conversation with this community psychiatric nurse, and I said, well, how can you do this? What reassurance do I have that if sister has a relapse, I've got someone to get hold of, someone to talk to? What reassurances do I have if sister is discharged from your services? We had a lengthy telephone conversation, and in the end she said, Mr. because you seem to have quite strong views and opinions, why do you not attend our annual general meeting, AGM, at Duckenfield Town Hall next month, or whenever it was? So I agreed to attend. This was my first engagement with any patient public involvement work. And my initial reaction was, what the hell do I want to get involved with a mental health trust for? I went along to the AGM. I expressed my views and concerns about my sister being discharged from mental health services. I spoke to several directors and senior managers, and the upshot of that was I was invited to join a group called Triangle of Care within the local mental health trust. This is whereby carers of people with a mental health illness who are inpatients on any of their wards have a say in the care that they receive. So it's a triangle between the trust, the patient, and the family carer. So I started attending monthly meetings on a Tuesday, just £10 an hour, 2 hours. So I said, well, it's a bit of pocket money. I'd got my university degrees, but I didn't have a full-time job, so it was a bit of pocket money. I was still very suspicious of having anything to do with the mental health trust. It's not the kind of thing you sort of dream about when you've got postgraduate degrees. Now, 6 months into the journey, they then offered me an opportunity to sit on a service user carer forum, which meets every month on a Thursday for 2 hours. We used to get paid £10 an hour plus fairly good lunch. So I got involved in all sorts of activities within the mental health trust that looks after my sister. This then led to opportunities at the University of Manchester, which is, I would say, my university in the sense that I was born and raised in Manchester. So my foray into health research started with a young lady who's now a research associate, Dr. Claire Planner. She interviewed me and I started attending primer meetings, which is whereby members of the public, patients and carers, have a say in primary care research that is conducted at the University of Manchester. Now, this is all going back about 11 years. So them two were my first two activities in patient public involvement. That led to getting involved with other service user carer opportunities at local universities in the Northwest. So now I'm really getting to the crux of things. So about a year passed. So I got myself involved in local activities. So the mental health trust that looks after my sister, attending 2 separate meetings every month, and then local universities in Greater Manchester and Yorkshire and Lancashire. Then I saw an opportunity to sit on a national panel. This was the NIHR, the National Institute of Health Research, Research for Patient Benefit, the RFPB. And I think there's seven regional panels that sit throughout England. It used to be 9, but there's 7 now. So I filled in a lengthy application form. It asked for evidence of patient public involvement today, obviously your name, address, and your bio date and all the rest of it. And if I'm not mistaken, possibly 2 references. Can't remember exactly. I got selected for the interview. It was a panel interview. And I had to attend a panel interview at Salford Royal Hospital. The chair of the meeting was a lady professor of dentistry. There was a public contributor on the panel, and there was a lady from the NIHR. The interview itself was about 90 minutes. Now, I thought I'd done pretty well in the interview. It was question after question, and there were competency-based questions, scenario-based questions about teamwork, working with others. Can you give an example where you've shown some initiative? You get the sort of drift, and where you've been a representative for other people. Now, I thought I'd done pretty well. I was one of only 7 people to be interviewed for this panel, the Research for Patient Benefit panel sitting in the northwest of England. And I think they were looking to recruit 2 people, so 2 public contributors maximum to sit on this panel. So I thought I'd done really well and was pleased I got to the last 7. A week or 10 days later, I got an email rejecting me. So naturally, I asked for feedback. And what they said was, I did well in everything. There's no issues there about my background, education. But the one thing they said was that there was not enough evidence of involvement of patient-public involvement work at local level. Because remember, I was new to all this PPI world. I mean, none of this was planned or, to be honest, wanted. This has all happened by accident, which I've said a few times in other meetings. Now, what they then did, they said in Manchester in a couple of weeks, the Health Research Authority, HRA, are holding a workshop. These are the details. Why don't you try and attend this workshop, which the Health Research Authority is holding in your city in central Manchester? And then they also said, which was very kind of them, they said, we suggest you build up a portfolio of local patient public involvement work. Why don't you contact local councils? Why don't you contact local colleges and local universities to build up a portfolio of local patient public involvement work? And we want to see greater evidence of you representing the views of the communities you live in, etc., etc. And they suggested that I reapply in about a year's time once I can demonstrate a portfolio of local patient public involvement work. So that's the task they set me, and that's what I set out doing. So I contacted various different public sector organisations. I built up a greater portfolio. Hi, Rashmi, sorry, I didn't say hi to you. Of local patient public involvement work. Then what happens? Out of the blue, about 10 months later, I get a surprise email from the lady that had interviewed me, the NIHR lady, asking me whether I was still interested in the position that I'd been interviewed for about 10 months ago. So I replied back, I said yes. So then the next question was, can you provide us with evidence of what you've been doing in this last year? So then I sent in an updated CV and I explained in an email some of the other patient and public involvement work I'd been doing locally in Greater Manchester. So by this time I had involvement with the University of Salford's Service User Carer Forum. I'd attended several meetings with the Health Research Authority in London. I became a public contributor at the University of Huddersfield. I had a greater range of involvement with primary care research and other patient public involvement activities at the University of Manchester. I managed to get myself onto the patient public involvement group within the School of Nursing and Health at Manchester Metropolitan University, which is former Polytechnic in Manchester. So it spread me wings locally in Greater Manchester. So I provided all the evidence they wanted 10 months down the road. And this time they were happy with the evidence I'd provided, and they offered me a place without being interviewed again on the funding panel for 3 years. So that's how my journey began, by sitting on a funding panel, which I served for the full 3-year term. But my key message is that you start locally before you go national. So start local, then go national. Build up a portfolio of work in the area you reside. So in Rashmi's case, some part of London. get involved with local universities, local health trusts, local colleges, any public sector body that offers you an opportunity to get involved in patient public involvement work. And do it with a passion, do it with commitment, and be genuine. That effort will get recognized, because ultimately there will be people that will be willing to write references for you. So when you apply to sit on national panels, they will ask for references. So you need people to say, this person is committed, they're passionate about patient public involvement work, they're punctual, they're reliable, they're genuine, they can be relied upon. So it all counts. So my key message is grab local opportunities first, build up a portfolio of local patient public involvement work, whichever city or town you live in. And then, year or two down the road, then start applying for national roles. Not only funding panels, but say NICE committees, the National Institute of Health and Care Excellence. Then you've got NHS England committees, you've got Health Education England committees, and ultimately the Department of Health and Social Care, they have committees in London. But they will all expect evidence of local involvement. You know, it doesn't have to be 10 different involvements. They're looking for 3 or 4 solid involvements which you can talk about and where you've shown commitment, and it all helps. So that was my key message. But bear in mind, getting onto a national panel or onto a NICE committee, I've been told they're very competitive. So 15 to 20 people apply for every position that's available. Recently, I applied for a position for a committee that looks at medical imaging at King's College London. I got interviewed and they told me that 40 people had applied for 5 positions. So that tells you how competitive the patient public involvement work has now become. What else? I'll probably take questions now. I think I've said enough, unless you want me to elaborate on the workings of a funding panel, or whether that could be done a different day. If you've got lots of questions to ask me, or I'm happy to mention some of my other involvement at national level. But I do sit on one other funding panel. So that's with the Research Design Service, the RDS. So the Research Design Service exists purely to help researchers finalize, complete, and submit quality grant applications to NIHR or the Medical Research Council or Cancer UK or any other Wellcome Trust, any other funding body. So they provide £350 grant, and I think it could be up to £500 in London for researchers to ensure that patient public involvement work does exist in the development stage prior to submission of a grant application. And they also run, certainly in the Northwest, different RDSs work in a different way, but the one in the Northwest holds a pre-submission panel, which I've sat on for 3 years. So all the academics and clinicians, the academics that work in all the universities in the Northwest, so that's from Lancaster to Liverpool to Manchester, Manchester Met, Salford, Edgehill and Chester, and Preston Polytechnic, which is now known as University of Central Lancashire. All the academics that work there, in conjunction with the clinicians that they've partnered with for their grant applications, they're allowed to submit a half-complete or an incomplete application to the RDS pre-submission panel, which I sit on. And we will review in a day up to 12, maybe 12, 15 grant applications. Each application has maybe 20 to 30 minutes devoted to it. These are incomplete applications, so they're not in their entirety as they would be when they're formally submitted. This is just a checking exercise. and we provide feedback on these half-completed, incompleted grant applications, how to improve them before they're formally submitted to the actual funding panel the academic clinician is actually applying to. So I've sat on that with another public contributor, which you probably see in some of these meetings, and I'm sure Rashmi does know her, a person of, no, I won't say anything more, but anyway, another public contributor who's quite well known within Greater Manchester. The two of us sit on that funding panel, and we have done for the last 3 years. So that's 2 different panels I sit on, or should I say I've sat on. There I'll stop and I'll take some questions.
I've got my hand up. You probably can't see it. Thank you for sharing your experience. It's been quite challenging, and I really feel sorry for you. You mentioned about that 90 minutes interview.
Yes.
And the expectation from you, the long application, the demonstration of evidence and such like. It'll be nice to hear how long ago was that, because yeah, things have changed. I mean, I haven't been around for that long. I've only been around for about 3+ years in the world of PPI, and things have changed. But it's really funny. I mean, what caught me is what you said about the 90 minutes and the experience and demonstration of experience. I'd like to find out really how much experience has those panel members themselves got in the world of PPI. Because really, if you ask them the question they asked you, they will have zero. You probably got a lot more experience. So I just wanted to share really every one of us who is here today. I reckon we've got a lot more experience than any of those panel members. And if the people attending today actually want to see a report which has just been published by NIHR, then I'll be happy to share that, because I've just received in the last couple of days a report from the NIHR. They call themselves NIHR Participation in Research Experience Survey. And I'll be very happy to share that with all of you guys. You will look at that report and shows the farcical way they do PPI, the tokenism way they do PPI. So I am so sad for you to have gone through that experience, because that is the classic way of putting people off from getting involved in research, getting involved in contributing. If I had gone through that, I would have said, get lost. I really don't want to put myself, because they don't appreciate you doing this on a voluntary basis. You are sacrificing your daily activities to help them, and then they ridicule you.
Well, no, Rashmi, you see, this was 11 years ago. So I've done this PPI work now, as I've said to you in other meetings, 12 years. So this was 11 years ago, and I was very inexperienced, younger, and maybe naive about patient-public involvement. That was the set procedure then. You had to formally apply on one of the application forms they send you. And then it just so happens that the panel interviews were being held at Salford Royal Hospital, which is one of Manchester's better and bigger hospitals. So it's like an hour's journey even to get there. And they interviewed so many people on the day, but I was told that they interviewed 7 candidates. There were 2 positions, and I did everything right in terms of communication skills, presentation. It's just that there were other people with lots more experience. So they were good in the sense that they gave me constructive feedback. They didn't say, we're dismissing your application entirely, you're no good. They just said, to strengthen your application, and if you were to reapply, then we'd like to see more evidence of local patient public involvement work.
Okay.
And this was the formal panel. This was the NIHR Research for Patient Benefit Panel, which there used to be 9 panels. Now there are 7.
That's fine. That's fine. That's good. A lot of people here, so I won't say anymore. Hamid, I know he's a very experienced PPI. Really value his contribution. It'll be really good. All of you guys, CJ's there, and but I'd like to hear really what your thoughts are. How you guys, the rest of you have got involved in PPI. What do you think? And Manoj is very experienced. Manoj and I have worked on several 2 or 3 panels, research project. So we are here to listen to you. Please tell us about.
Thank you so much. Rashmi, I can come in. First of all, just out of interest, Veronica's not here today. Is she on annual leave? Oh,
Yeah,
good. Manoj and Rashmi, you are leading the session today, so well done. I'm really pleased and you're doing a great job. And what I was going to say, Rashmi, you said a very good point. I think I'm speaking very anecdotally, not with evidence, but anecdotal. What I feel that probably most of us probably fall into public research work by default. I don't think it's something that you kind of sit down one day and say, right, I really want to apply and do this. I think I didn't realize that these sort of opportunities existed until by default I fell into one. And then from there, I found out about another one. And then from there, it's a bit like, I've noticed like a spiral effect. You get to know about one, and then from that another 2 come out because somebody was at that meeting and they realized you might be good for something else. So now I look back and I think I'm so fortunate and I'm so privileged that I got to know about all these different opportunities. However, at the same time, I get saddened and think, why did I not know about these 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Why is it I got to know about in my 40s? So there must be a lot of people out there who might still be not knowing these opportunities exist, and yet they could be fantastic PPI members. So that's something we need to think about and discuss. How do we make it more visible and accessible and recognizable to individuals that they are suitable to apply? And also, I think that for me, all this came at the right time, because I'm one of these people that's likes to be out and about and meet people. When you're a carer for your mom, it becomes very boring and mundane when you're doing that day in and day out. So it's really nice to have opportunities to go somewhere and do something different. But the pandemic kind of forced everybody to stay at home. And if you're caring for the person you care for and live with them, it becomes very, very difficult, because all your stimulation is just dealing with their needs and their care needs throughout the day. So this was really good that I got to know about things online. And I always say to people, for my mental health and well-being, online PPI work has kept me okay. If there wasn't this, I had gone down, the mental health had gone down in the pandemic, but I probably would have got sectioned if I didn't have these sort of things to look forward to, because this kind of stuff got me to switch off from my caring role. So I'm very privileged, very fortunate, but very saddened. Why did I have to wait till my 40s to find out that these opportunities existed? Thank you.
Thanks, Hamid. I think the word you're looking for is mushroom effect. So likewise with me, you start off with one role, it leads to another, it leads to a third, it leads to a fourth, and it mushrooms out, yes. The one other thing I was going to quickly mention is that not just funding panels, but any national panel, nowadays you get about 15 to 20 applicants for every place that's available. So if you do get rejected, do not take it personally. It's just the competitive nature of the world we live in. So then just refine your application, and the next available opportunity, reapply again with a stronger application. But do not take it personally, any rejection you receive at national level. Anything else? Any other questions? CJ, I'm sure you've got a question or two for me.
or anyone else.
Sorry, not only is my camera not working, I can get my mic off there. Hi everyone. No, I'm just hi guys. I'm just really interested. I mean, there's obviously a lot of experience here. I think that one of the things that I find slightly frustrating is the amount of time that you have to put into the applications. It is a competitive process, but quite a lot of time is spent putting things together, and because things are different, you're putting together different focused applications, and the amount of time that goes into that, and whether or not you've got any suggestions of that, because actually doing a general application doesn't work. It has to be specific, but you can spend ages and ages and ages doing it. You know, and if this was a regular job, you would not be applying for a job, you know, every week.
Yes.
You would be doing it, you know, once every few years. But in order to be competitive in this, you are having to spend a lot of time, refining those things, and whether you've got any advice on that.
Yes, so that is a brilliant point you've raised, CJ, actually, because when I first started off with this PPI world, and like I said, none of this was planned or wanted, I used to just send out standard CVs and I used to get tons of rejections. But when I now see any PPI role, what I do is I break down the requirements, and then I go through my CV and I sort of highlight the areas that are most relevant to that role, and I expand on them, but I leave all the others to one side. So case in point, if it's some sort of research meeting group, etc., to do with mental health, then I will focus that the involvement I've had to date with mental health research, whichever university, whichever hospital trust. So I will only highlight them. I won't go on about say, multimorbidity research or arthritis research or musculoskeletal research. I'll put that to one side. I'll just focus the application on what the requirements are and what the subject area is, as close as related to that, and I expand on them. Whereas the CV might only have a couple of lines of my involvement with, say, short-term CBT measures for those inpatients on an inpatient ward, and we know the revolving door might be 6 days or 10 days. The average person only spends about 10 days on a mental health ward. So if I'm involved in mental health research to provide cognitive behavioral therapy for these people that are short stay patients, as and when there's an opportunity to get involved in some of the mental health research, I will mention that, but I will expand on that particular example I'm already involved in. But I'm not going to mention anything to do with arthritis or multimorbidity because it's not relevant for that role. So that's the sort of strategy I've taken recently. And it does seem to work if I put in a quality application, which you've said correctly, does take a lot of time to submit a quality application. There's no getting away from that.
CJ, the other thing I will advise is there is an organization called Saving Our Lives. It's a charity organization, voluntary group. Look up on Google, Saving Our Lives. They have got a tool, a framework, which I sort of used it only recently, about a month ago. It helps you to structure your thinking on what is the key information and what isn't, and how to articulate to show what experience you've got. And they'll help you. You can even speak to them. They've got telephone number. They'll help you and guide you. So my recommendation is get in touch with them. It's the only organization I have come across which actually helps people like you and I, people who are not experienced enough, to put together how to fill out the form. I think that's
really interesting, Reshmi, because in fact I've had comments that I'm too experienced.
Oh,
so,
that's a new one.
It's yeah, absolutely. And you kind of go, well, what do you do about that? You know, there's not a lot I can do about if I've got too much experience. But I think that is a real issue with PPI at the moment, that there's people that do a lot of it. And I've seen that there's a move towards wanting people who aren't as experienced because they are coming with a different view. And yet, I think that there's also I mean, I've been involved in something lately that, oh my gosh, I nearly pulled my hair out on it. It took so long to do. It must have taken me a week to review all the things. It was so intense. And if I hadn't been experienced, I'd have been jumping at the first opportunity. I'd have jumped off the side of the bus. And there's a real mismatch, I think, of what people think they want and actually what they need. Because if I had not got the experience that I have, there is no way on earth I would have been able to contemplate doing that work. And as I say, even with the experience that I've got, I was pulling my hair out. And they did say afterwards, we didn't realize it was going to take quite so long. It's like, well, it has taken such a long time, because again, I think that everybody here wants to do a really good job, when in this, to just kind of go, oh yeah, we've done this, we've done that, we want to make a difference, that's why we do it. There's very little remuneration involved. I rarely claim, because actually that's not why I do it. But I want to make a difference. I want to ensure that voices are heard within that research. But equally, it's hard. It's really hard. And as I say, I think that there's a mismatch of expectations. And when people go into it and they don't feel supported in it, then there is a real dichotomy. And I think it's a really interesting thing to, almost to say to people who are looking at PPI, actually, you need to pitch your involvement at the right level. And whether that's, you can get involved from doing things like surveys, etc. If that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But in order to do some of the things that you've talked about this morning, you do need to be experienced in it, because you would be floundering being asked to do some of the things that we're asked to do at that higher level, I guess.
I agree. The respect element, most time researchers and institutions don't understand the challenges individuals go through. You're so right. Debbie, you've got your hand up. You want to say something?
Hello. Yeah, I agree with what's been said. I think a lot of points are really valid. I think sometimes there is long, tedious application forms that we have to go through, a lot of stages, many phases before we can actually be invited onto the panel. And within that process, you're providing a lot of personal information about yourself, and it can be very disheartening if you provide all that information and you're still not chosen to be a member of that panel. And sometimes they're asking for right to work documents as well. And this might deter people from actually applying, because they don't want to submit their details, because they don't know about privacy, security, what they're doing with all of their personal information. So I think this needs to be taken into consideration.
So Debbie, it's not just national panels that ask for right to work documentation. Just this Wednesday, I was at my another local university, which is the University of Salford. Even if I do half an hour's work for them, either from home until this week, I have to provide evidence of my passport, which they'll scan. I hold it up against a laptop and they'll take a photo shot and then they'll send it off. But as of this week, every time I'm on campus, I have to take the passport with me for an administrator to photocopy my passport. They've known me for 10 years. I'm actually a graduate of the University of Salford when I was very young, but still, I have to take the passport with me every time. Which is silly, but that's the rule they put in place.
So Debbie, it sounds like you, and what CJ touched on earlier and Manoj touched on earlier, it sounds like there is still that unappreciation of, they all talk about PPI and how to get meaningful PPI, but they really, don't understand how to get PPI involved, or they just don't want BPI to get involved because they keep putting this kind of barriers that you talked about just now, Debbie, on putting barriers in front of you, asking you for your personal information without actually explaining to you who is going to be holding that personal information. So I think Hamid touched on earlier, perhaps we need to have a separate session on this.
Rashmi, can I come in there? I think the academics don't deliberately put barriers there to make our lives difficult, but what they don't do is they don't appreciate the time, energy, and effort we have to put in to overcome the barriers they put in. Because they're, to be honest, not having a go at anyone, but their lives are so different than us as public contributors.
Can I come in?
Yeah.
Also, very quickly, I think first of all, what we have to recognize, so I'm going to try to be devil advocates from both sides, and then we can come to some conclusion together. When you're looking at these large academic institutions that employ something like 3,000-4,000 people, what they do is they develop one blanket policy and expect that policy to fit around everyone. So whether you're applying for a job as a dean of school on $100,000 a year full time, or whether you're applying for 1 hour work as an EBE, they take you through the same protocol and process, which means that what they would argue is they're following HR policies. So that's their way of looking at it. From our point of view, we're saying is, why is it that every time, because I'm having the same problem Manoj you're having with another university, I won't mention for confidentiality names, but exactly the same thing. Every time I do 2 hours work, I have to go through the whole right to work and all this contract. And the contract is like 6 pages long. I'm thinking, God, it's probably cost them more to put this contract together for the 2 hours work than actually it's going to cost them to pay me for those 2 hours. But they're following the same universal policy about every time they offer employment, they have to take everyone through the same process. So what I've done is start to become an advocate and said, why can't you have a system in the university that you only take me through it once? Yeah. Once I've gone through it, you don't need to take me through it 1,000 times. I've been very fortunate and very lucky that I've got that system now with Lancaster University. I've been taken through it once. My key contact is Miss Bloggs. So every time I get new piece of work, I put Miss Bloggs' name and I say, please confirm with Miss Bloggs. And Miss Bloggs confirms, yes, I'm all right to work and everything is in place. So I think, Manoj, going forward, maybe you need to have a conversation with the main person in Salford Uni and HR person, say, can you develop a system where I have a key contact that could confirm every time? Because it's very annoying to keep holding up a passport. So yes, my way of working going forward would be have one key contact in HR. Thank you.
That's a really good point, Hamid. I think that should be the best practice example, shouldn't it? Similarly, I don't know whether people find, on filling in, if you do claim, filling in the claims forms every time just takes forever. I mean, it obviously doesn't take forever, but it does take a long time. And that's why I quite often don't claim, because actually it then takes me another 45 minutes to fill in a form just to claim for £20. And you just think it's just not worth it. It really isn't. And then you have to make sure that they're compatible and you're saving it so that it's a document that you can then edit. And actually that is preventing some people from getting involved. We have to think about digital inclusion as well, and if that is an exclusion factor, then it can put people off. And I think that, again, people forget that they have access to these things as researchers. They have access to the latest software, the latest technology, etc. But as PPI contributors, there are people that won't have that access. So they may well be put off. If you get sent a form to claim and you have to access it in a different way, and it's going to take you ages and you don't have somebody there to help you, that could be really off-putting. And just on the payment thing, I did some work and I worked out that my rate of pay that had been offered was 9p per hour.
Dreadful.
You know, 9p per hour, and yet that had never been thought through. I just sat there because I thought this has taken such a long time. They're offering whatever it was payment, and I sat there and I just thought that's laughable. You know, you are always the worst rewarded or recognized person in the as the PPI member, always, because those people are on contracts. So everything that they do that is related to the work is paid for. As PPI contributors, it's not. We're taking it out of our own time. And as I say, you know, for me, it's not why I do it, but I've become quite interested in that psychology of it as to why people can be put off. What are the barriers to people being involved? How do you get a diverse group involved? And I think that all those things contribute to excluding people.
So CJ, I've had similar examples recently where academics or clinicians from either University of Manchester or the Hospitals Trust have sent me documentations to read, and they'll say, there's an honorarium of £20 for this work. Yeah. And I'll look at the document and it's like 12 pages long. So as opposed to doing it, what I replied back to them and said, I'm more than happy to review this document this Saturday, but this is 4 hours work. If you're willing to pay 4 hours money, I'll do it. Well, I don't exactly say I won't do it, but I'll tell them, I'll lay the foundation, I'll tell them straight. I said, this represents 3 to 4 hours work. On that basis, I will review the document, not otherwise.
Yeah,
so that's the strategy.
I think that that's a really key thing, and I think that there needs to be a movement within PPI of sort of saying, listen, you're saying we're worth it. You have to show us that we're worth it, and that includes not having to produce the documentation every time, not having to do certain things that we are literally spending so much time doing in order to get £20 recognition or a voucher or, you know, something like that, because it's not commensurate with what they're saying, which is we really want you involved, we want you there, we want you as a voice around the table. And then the way that it's being leveraged is not indicative of that. You know, it's not showing us that we're wanted, because if it was, they would make it easy. And, you know, I'm sure that I mean, you know, as Hamid has said, you know, good old Miss Blogs, that works really well. And I'm really, really pleased that, you know, the fictional Miss Blogs has recognized that, because that is a really helpful way of taking this forward. And for me, that shows respect, and it shows that, you know, Hamid is obviously really valued as a contributor, and that they've gone through that process. But as I say, I think it can be really off-putting for people who've never done it before, and who are having to jump through hoops. And it makes you feel as though you're having to justify yourself every time, doesn't it? And also, you know, just on a security issue, how many copies of my passport potentially are there out there if every time I'm providing all those personal details? You know, what's happening to those? Where are they going?
In the ether. In the remaining last 8 minutes, do you want me to provide a very quick overview of what actually happens on the funding panel?
Sorry, no, sorry. No, we've got 5 minutes left. Okay. So a couple of things have already come out, which has been really useful from today's session. But before we go into last 5 minutes of summary and what next, just very quickly, Varuf, you haven't said, sorry, I hope I've pronounced it right, anything. Do you want to share anything or ask us about anything? I'm just conscious about the time. That's all.
Let me just say something.
Okay, yeah, sorry, Gifty, I forgot you as well.
Yes,
I'm so sorry. Yes.
Yes, I am really, really surprised. Well, I'm not surprised. This is England. They don't value work from non-academic. They don't value. Although some are a bit flexible, because I worked for a uni in London. It was just plain sailing. They didn't ask me for all work and all that. And that was before the pandemic. We sat down, we all discussed, and it was like just normal. But what I'm seeing now, anyway, I'm I'm retired, actually. I've got health issues which I have to look at. And I take my hat to you all. But it's good experience for me to know that, national things, I avoid it anyway. I've got my family. But continue, and then I'll still be on this NIHR because I just wanted to know what is happening. Because all my life I worked in the NHS with illness, diseases, coding, and all that. But I've never been involved in inpatient involvement. Although I'm a member of the Patients Association, which puts out where they interview us online and all that, no form filling and all that. But it's good. Thank you so much for the info you gave me. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gifty. Varav, do you have anything to add? Probably having a Wi-Fi or microphone issue. I just want to sorry.
Can I add as well that I think one of the other things I'm just thinking about that is that, you know, some of us live with conditions that, you know, contribute to how much we can do, how much we're able to do, you know, that kind of thing as well. And that, I think, isn't recognized. You know, the burden is too strong a word, but you know what I mean? It is a burden sometimes, because if you are committed to something and then it turns out to be much, much more work than you anticipated or whatever, then, you know, how is that going to translate? You know, if somebody says, you know, I need this back in 2 days' time, and actually that is a really big pressure for you, potentially, you know, that really needs to be taken into account as well. And I think it comes back to that mutual respect thing, that we need to be working with people who are saying we want PPI involvement and really kind of educating them on what best practice looks like. So you have plenty of time to do the work. You're not forced into doing it at a very tight scale. You know, they are offering different opportunities for how you can comment. You know, I mean, to edit a document takes a long time. You know, if you're going through and having to put notes on things, it takes a long time. Sometimes it's so much better to just have a meeting and to be able to feed that back, because that takes a lot less time. And again, that would help with things like digital literacy and, you know, people not having access to the right sort of software or whatever. And again, I think sometimes people forget that when they're working within an institution that always has the most up-to-date software and hardware and, you know, photocopiers and everything else. We are doing that ourselves. You know, we don't have anybody to do that for us. So I think that can be something that, you know, could maybe be fed back to people as to how you get more people involved. Because, I mean, I've just seen something come up yesterday that said no support offered, you won't need support. That's an incredibly judgmental thing to say. You have no idea what support people might need, and yet to say, oh, no support is offered, no support is needed, you know, for me that's a really exclusive statement to put on something. If you're looking for people to be included, what you need to be doing is showing that support is available in whatever form is needed.
I agree, CJ. I think there is a lack of understanding and the lack of flexibility. We all talk about flexibility, but some people just don't understand that. So you make a really good point, because there is a need to understand, respect those people who are actually putting themselves forward to participate, and they need to be respected. So you're absolutely right. We've got 2 minutes now.
No,
we've got 2 minutes to close out. I'd like to summarize, because I think, Hamid, you made a really good suggestion that perhaps what we need to do, have a separate session where we can extract and get these ideas, because like Hayley, you've suggested on doing checks once and sharing that good practices with other institutions. Hamid, you touched on about recognizing the element and challenges, and CJ, you just touched on the challenges of individuals with conditions. They have difficulty. You're so right. So I think what I'm going to suggest to we that perhaps she can facilitate, or if she cannot facilitate that, then I work, Manoj knows that I work with King's College Hospital and Cicely Saunders Institute. I'll ask them, perhaps they can facilitate. I think some of you, Debbie, I've seen you, Hayley, CJ, Hamid, on Cicely Saunders Institute. Perhaps they can help with doing an online forum, or maybe one day or half a day forum for us to come and share this idea, because there have been so useful ideas that's come out today. And Manoj, thank you so much for sharing your personal experience.
Yes.
and really how we can structure ourselves to communicate, to improve ourselves, how we can engage with the healthcare professional. I think that's good advice. Thank you so much for that. So thank you guys. It's been really, really lovely. We're 11 o'clock and we have to finish here. So
thank you so much, Rashmi. You've done a fantastic job in bringing us together, and I really appreciated just being here today and just having a safe space to say things as they are. And it's lovely we've had Manoj and CJ and many others who have also shared. But I think what I would like to say is that, Rashmi, that the good thing is that what we can see, that there's a definite need for some sort of a network where people can come together regardless of what PPI work they've done, but we can meet and just share how we can change the systems for better involvement and engagement. So maybe, Rashmi, something for you to take away is can we, or is there a space we can create a network where we come together to look at how to enable easier practices for people to get involved? And also, I think, Rashmi, I'm seeing you soon next week on a couple of the meetings. So at some point, we'll have a one-to-one catch-up if we can. It'd be great. Thank you so much.
Most definitely, anytime. And you guys got my email address. So, some of you who I work with, got my email address. Drop me a line anytime. Thank you so much.
Have you got another one of these planned, guys? Is there another one planned?
Every month, I think we have 1 hour. I don't have the days. Manoj, you might have a...
I did have the dates, but V asked me to do this session and another one. The other one, I'm not sure if I've got enough material, but on actually what happens on a funding panel. Yeah. But certainly the one today, V said if you could do a discussion on how to get accepted onto funding panel, what's involved, etc. So yeah, at least a few more. But
yeah, it's been really good. It's been lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. 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 Thank you. Thank you.